Gary Farrelly. It's a pleasure to have you on Conversations in the Void.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And Gary Farrelly is visiting us from Dublin.
Not Dublin. I'm visiting you from Kildare, which is just outside Dublin. But you're allowed to practice your Americanism and just flatten the geography of my country into a central point.
But you are from Dublin.
I am from Dublin, yes.
So there's that.
There is that.
So I am curious, though, what originally stimulated your interest in Dallas? And also, how do you feel about Dallas as a working artist?
Okay, well, prior to coming to Dallas, I'd been working in Dublin and I'd been working in Paris for 4 years. And I was very, very used to this European notion of the city as being, first of all, an inhabited space with a downtown nucleus. And I had heard so much about these dystopic, almost Mad Max-like American cities. So I was very curious. I wanted to see, not New York or not Los Angeles, not one of these, very international cities. I wanted to come to a city that was, to some degree, an emergent city, and also a city that perhaps had been passed over, and that was developmentally a bit inverted or malfunctional. So I wanted to come to Dallas, I suppose, initially to make work about this rather strange cartography of your city, the fact that there's no downtown area, the fact that public transport is minimal, the infrastructure is disintegrating, there's all the skyscrapers are empty. And I wanted to see if it was possible for me as a European, a non-driver, a homosexual, a Christian conspiracy theorist. I wanted to see, was it possible for me to, within the space of a year, find a milieu in which I could function socially competently and see if it was possible for me to practice as an artist here in a sustainable and in an interesting way. And I suppose the answer to all of these questions was yes. I thrived in Dallas. Some might say that I conquered Dallas very quickly, although no, that's not true. But to some degree it's true, actually. I wanted to see how much of an impact I could make on an American city, and not an outward-looking city. I wanted to come somewhere inward-looking, and I got Dallas, and I'm delighted with my decision to come here. And
your most recent show at the Row 2 Gallery, that's your
fourth show in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah, second solo show in Dallas, fourth show in Dallas.
And would you say it's your favorite? You're most pleased with it, or where else did you show? It was also Central Track.
I've shown at Central Track and at Guerrilla Arts and at an event called Gallery House, which was out by White Rock Lake, and now at Row 2 Gallery downtown.
Well, with respect to your more recent show, you've referred to your work as being both obsessive and repetitive, and about this recent Row 2 Gallery show, you said it was simultaneously jaded and jubilant. Do you find solace in this seemingly masochistic creation of bureaucratic terminals and systems, or does it kind of become a sort of prison? I mean, working in this manner and having this system.
Well, the system is designed to negate the fact that I'm generally quite a chattery, chattery person with an overactive mind and a twitching leg, and I'm always fiddling with my hands. And I like to utilize that energy and put it into physically quite repetitive processes, which pervade my work. But jaded and jubilant is a term I coined because I am, if you had known me 2 or 3 years ago, I was always a utopist. I always was, I was brought up in that great socialist European tradition of believing that science, economics, art, internationalism, diplomacy, politics, that these things were somehow the forces which were going to progress a better world that I was going to inhabit as an adult, and that was going to lead to the prosperity of me and my family and everybody from Africa to India to wherever. And it was only actually when I came to Texas that because there's a lot of quite radical political discourse in this city, and I paid quite a lot of attention to it, and that facade was just obliterated. And so I say simultaneously jaded and jubilant because I do retain that lust for life and that, that enthusiastic engagement with reality that I've always had. I'm a very social, gregarious, productive person. But I also believe that I'm living in a tyrannically operated regime that wants to shorten my my lifespan. I believe that that I'm being poisoned through the water, through the food. I believe that my government executes acts of terror in order to essentially restrict my freedoms in the long run. And so yes, that does jade me a little bit.
And you wanted to go to Luby's today.
I wanted to go to Luby's today. Well, I like Luby's because I take a lot of my dressing sense off, white grandmothers who are over 70. I borrowed this outfit here from one such lady. So yeah, no, I like the fashion sense that the senior citizen Americans evidence.
Yes, well, I like it too. I like what you're wearing. I think
Thank
you
you.
look, I think you look lovely
I brought
today.
this all the way across the Atlantic for you guys.
It's yes.
It's chic.
It's earthy.
Is the
It's
word.
chic. Chic is a good word.
It
yes.
is.
Certainly. Well, what now that you've conquered Dallas?
No,
and,
I was being flippant. I certainly haven't conquered Dallas. Dallas is, though, much quicker than Paris or than Dublin. It was possible to make connections here and to, because the art community in Dallas is quite small. And so as an outsider, I just was treated as a curiosity. And I used that opening moment of weakness that people have for the exoticism of a stranger to exploit as many opportunities as I could to advance my practice here. And and it's been it's been reasonably successful. I certainly haven't I haven't built a house out of diamonds just yet, but I see Dallas now as being my focus city. So if I was an airline, Dallas would be one of would be my North American city of choice.
And so following your return to Kildare, what do you have in the near future?
Well, this is an interesting question that involves a palm reader that I went to out at White Rock Lake. And I had been writing, because I'm quite dissatisfied living in Ireland. I live in quite a wonderful place. It's called Pickering Forest. And I've been offered a studio by a great friend and patron of my work called Marina Guinness. But Ireland as a society is a submissive and surrender-orientated passive society, and I morally morally mainly, reject everything that it kind of has to say for itself and everything it stands for. So, I started writing recently, about 4 months ago, to a gallery in Brussels that I'd like to show to. I haven't made any offer or anything. I often think it's good to just send posts to people.
You mentioned that was how you sort of
to
got into
acclimate
Central
them to the idea that you might ultimately work with them. Because essentially the act of sending posts to somebody has them working with you before they're working with you.
I like that, yeah.
And so I go to this palm reader out at White Rock Lake, and it was so weird. I walk into this woman's tiny little box apartment, and she asks for my ring. And I haven't told anybody about this this mail art blitz that I've been doing on Brussels. And she takes my ring and she's like, Belgium. Oh, that's so weird. It's the first time I've ever had Belgium come into my head. But you're going to be living in Belgium by the end of the year. So that's the plan now.
Well, the coming apocalypse might upset these plans.
Well, it certainly could. I mean, I'm a master of doublethink. Firstly, as an artist, I'm ravenously interested in information, so I continue to research and create and make work. I continue to try, insofar as as I can, to procure opportunities to show my work and to move forward as an artist. But yeah, in addition to that, I expect food shortages, hyperinflation, border disputes, intentionally detonated bioweapons and genocide on our soil, both here in the United States and in Europe. And, strangely enough, unless I go into this in great detail, I'm going to sound like a complete crackpot. But most people I get a shot at convincing of this. I'm pretty persuasive on this. I mean, I just let the information guide me without prejudice. And yeah, I see absolute hardcore tyranny that makes Nazi Germany look like a fucking theme park down the road for Americans and for Europeans. But that said, First of all, it's always possible with the application of effort and preparation to thrive and prosper under any situations. So during the
Belgium might be the place to be.
well, Belgium's the heart of the evil empire on that side of the on that side of the world. But there's more sex offenders in Belgium. There's big paedophile rings in Belgium. NATO's based in Belgium. The European Union and its fucking unelected Politburo and lizard president are based in Belgium. So, Belgium is probably a pretty interesting choice. I mean, it's not exactly going off grid, but I think that I think that whatever I do, I'll always survive. I think I'm under God's protection, because I'm open to the Word of God, so I'm open to those. To that protection. Most people reject it. That's why our society is coming apart at the seams as it is. And we have, children filleting each other on television, world's fattest families, hoarders, a parade of mental illness and absolute social degradation on our televisions. And we wonder why we fuck each other limp and we sit in our acclimatized homes and, engage in road rage on the Hov lane, on the freeway.
I think it's HOV, but
it's all just
it's
coming apart really evidently. But I believe that if I continue doing what I'm doing, and if I have my wits about me, and if I prepare properly, I will not alone survive, but I will thrive, prosper, and remain pretty chic during the apocalypse.
That's lovely. I mean, we certainly have your, makeup video on YouTube.
Well, you do, and I think that these are
to
good.
reference to prepare for the coming apocalypse.
Yeah, because
if we are still here in some time, it would be certainly excellent to have you
here.
back.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
So.
Oh, delightful. Like the sentiment. Yes, I'd love to come back, and I hope I haven't been too tiresome a guest. But
well, not at all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Gary Farrelly.
That's just my translated. That's my self-deprecating European way of saying, yeah. Well, you're lucky to have had me on your show. No, yeah, that's how we roll. We always make it sound like we really dislike ourselves, but underneath it all, we're massively egocentric.
Yes,
Whereas on this side of the Atlantic, everybody's massively egocentric with bleached teeth, but actually underneath it all, they go home and self-harm and eat Doritos until they poop themselves.
Which well, this does happen. It was really a pleasure having you, Gary.
You too.
That's about time. So thank you for coming onto the show, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
The song's called Feral and Ethereal. Well, my pupillary ties leave me in a bind. Just another heartache that's on down that line. I can't spin a tale from time to time, but there ain't nothing like singing out what I've seen with my own two eyes. The sugar in the cane I found on and the high. I done time in an iron hotel in a bar flies paradise in a blue-blooded moon. It showed some sweet mercy for me. Maybe because my blood is thicker than the seven seas. Because if only I had been in the know, then I would have made a drive out to San Pedro. Me and Bukowski, we had plenty to drink about. And there'll be no BS coming out of our pens, much less our mouth. The sugar in the cane I found on Hammer High. I've done time in an iron hotel in a bar flies paradise in a blue-blooded moon. It shows some sweet mercy for me. It's maybe because my And there's more to the blues than turning bottles upside down. It's hard luck, it's hard feelings, it's hard flesh and bone sound. It's word for word, this poetry bleeds life out of you. And there ain't no better way to write it down than when it's true. I sing sugar in the cane, I find honey in the high. I've done time in an iron hotel, in a bar flies paradise, and the blue-blooded moon shows a sweet mercy for me. Or maybe it's because my blood is thicker than the seven seas. It's turned out to be so feral and ethereal. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's turned out to be so feral and ethereal. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's turned out to be so feral